Okay, there
All
we
right.
go.
Yeah,
All
there's a
right.
red right now that says recording. All right.
Oh, it's well, good. It lets the other person know that they're being recorded, right?
That's true, right? Yeah, that's another thing I didn't know. This is, again, all new to me. So all of
Yeah.
this zooming stuff.
Okay, so do you want to talk about these lovely 3 fragrances that you sent me from the 6 scent line?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I guess that's why we're here, right? And I have 2 of them in front of me, and then of course the packaging. So I have basically 87 and Urban Tropicalia in front of my hands, and then of course Ascent is still bagged up. But you have them all too, right? So we can
Yes, I
stuff
have them
together.
all
Do
in
you
front of me.
have you smelled them yet?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well,
Don't
do you
get
want
stuff
to?
around here and don't smell it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I wasn't sure if you wanted to smell them in real time or you did your homework already. So why don't you choose? Tell me which one you want to start with, and we can, and lay it out for you and your viewers.
Okay, let's start with the one that I did not think would be my favorite. And that is 087, number
Oh,
087.
well, okay. I'm almost shocked, but not shocked that you really like this one a lot. So, okay, I guess firstly, what your viewers have to know about Six Sense Parfums is that it's a brand I founded back in 2008. From 2008 to 2011, we created 27 fragrances. And the way we created them and how we got kind of well known was that we matched basically 6 super cutting edge emerging fashion designers with 6 master perfumers to basically render the fashion designer's vision into scent.
I
We
read
kind of
that
asked,
about you. I didn't know that you were a fashion designer. I
well,
found
no,
that.
no, I wasn't. I just chose the fashion designers
Oh.
out of all the ones out there. I curated it. So I was like, you, and you. Would you guys like to do perfumes? Because we're going to give you the chance to show your vision. And I've got these like a whole bunch of amazing perfumers that want to do this project. You know, we did the first one with a company called Simrise. So we had access to all of their perfume talent. These companies employed some of the best noses on earth, and they do fragrances for all the other big brands. They're not supposed to admit it, but they do Tom Ford and Comme des Garçons and so on and so forth.
Wow.
It's supposed to be Tom Ford, but it's is it really Tom? No, of course, but in my case, it's really me, but we'll get to that. But anyway, I don't want to rag on Tom because I really love his brand and he can do no wrong, but the man's time, it's a full-time job to come out with 1 fragrance a year, trust me. But anyway, so with Six Sense, so I chose these 6 designers, and some of them are quite famous now. I mean, they became household names. Like we worked with, let's see, Philip Lim. We worked with Gareth Pugh. He's famous in the UK, London. We worked with, let's see, I mean, who crossed over? Jeremy Scott, we did a fragrance for. He's now the design director of Moschino. So we did these designers that actually, some of them became quite huge. And what we were trying to find out is if they became famous, if these fashion designers became famous one day, what would their perfume smell like if they were ever able to do a fragrance? So we kind of stole from the future and offered it right away. And resonated as a concept because immediately we had like 250 stores around the world, like amazing fashion boutiques from all over, and department stores all cut a path to our office. And at the time we were on the west side of Manhattan, Van Dam Street, and wanted to buy. And so we a little side project became this kind of juggernaut. And then we basically got nominated for a Fifi Prize, a Fragrance Foundation Award. The first year they came out with the Best Indie Prize. We got nominated, but we lost.
And which fragrance did they pick up?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember. I never pay attention to these awards. That's the thing about me. So, it's if I'm involved in it, I pay attention, but that's it. Otherwise, I'm just doing my thing,
Yeah.
But anyway, but the next year we got nominated again for Best Indie at the Fragrance Foundation Awards, and we won, to my complete surprise. So with Six Sense, we came out with basically 4 different series of 6 designers apiece. So they were called Six Sense because it was originally 6 designers, right? And that, again, it happened from 2008 to 2011. And they were all limited edition. So once they sold out, they sold out. And the thing is, a lot of people around the world, not just America, but we sold a lot in Europe and Russia and China and also all sorts of places. You know, these became their signature scents, and they were suddenly not available for like the last 7 years. And so over the years, I've been getting emailed over and over and over from people like, please put back out number 87. Please put back out Urban Tropicalia. So the first trio of bottles, which I released, is direct response to our fans and clients all around the world, who we don't even know who they are because we always sold through shops and distributors.
Oh, wow.
So it's a way of getting reconnected to them, so they know what we're doing, and then and offering these ones that have been, you know, begged for. And the thing about these first three, Eva, is that they are bestsellers. That's why I chose them. So there are 3 bestsellers of all time.
Yeah.
So you ask yourself, wait a second, how could it be a bestseller if they're all limited edition to like 3,000 bottles each? And by that determination is basically that they sold the fastest before they're gone. So, and then we've gotten the most like emails from people like, oh, please put out 87 again. You know, oh, it's my signature scent. You know, I bought the last bottle. I found a place in Poland that had it, you know, and I bought the last year. We just put it out again. It would be great. And so we have a little bit of archive liquid, and it's like, okay, here we go. Boom. You know, so these and then the thing about them, 87 and Ascent were the award winners out of all the Exactly. They won Best Indie as part of the collection. It was our Series 3 collection, really. So, yeah, so good choice that, you know, you loved 87. I should hold it like that so people can see that you liked it the most. What's cool about it is the motor oil accord, which you must have zoomed right in on. And so the fact that we did this 12 years ago kind of makes it interesting. I mean, I think right now in 2020, it's like a little bit, you know, is it trying too hard or something like that? But remember, we did this, you know, like years ago. This was 10 years ago. So, but anyway, with every single Six Sense fragrance we came out with, the objectivity was 1,000% creativity.
Absolutely.
We wanted the perfumers to go bust out their bag of tricks and try out new things, because every fragrance that I make or I put my name on, I'm trying to make the next Angel by Thierry Mugler, you know?
Right, yeah.
Strange smelling thing that you can't get out of your mind, that is just amazing, and you don't know where you smelled it, but it just blows your mind, and it opens some gate up, right?
Right, and it doesn't smell like everything else.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. This is what I live to create, and I go to great lengths when I test all of my perfumes to make sure they don't smell like anything else.
Yeah.
You know, and if we get that feedback, we're like, nope, back to the drawing board, you know? So that was the longest ass winded intro to.
No, you're okay. We want to know. We want to know these things.
If I'm blabbing too much, just be like, Joe, turn it down, okay? Where's the off button? Okay.
So this one shocked me because before I received them, I looked them up. I read a lot about them, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'll, you know, be partial to that one. And then when I received it, when I sprayed it, actually what hits me in the very top of the fragrance is Old Christmas Tree.
Oh, right on. Okay, we were getting that pine. Yeah, yes, that's the Sugi pine. This is a Japanese pine, and it's fantastic, and it's really, and then there's the Hinoki cypress in there too. But it's a nice blend that Stephen Nielsen, the nose, managed to accomplish. It's a very, very faceted pine, you know, because you have different aspects.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But the dry down is almost slightly aquatic, I feel, on my skin.
Oh yeah, well, absolutely, because there's the salt water accord, icy salt water accord. Even came up with.
Very
nice. Cools it.
Gorgeous. Not for the meek at heart, though. Not for the.
I'm glad you said that. You know what? Because another reviewer who will go unnamed was like, it's an office scent. And I was like, no, it's not an office scent. It's not an office scent.
I
Yeah.
don't wear this to
Not,
the. I mean, I guess it could be, but
yeah, it could be
it's
exactly. It's
not
safe in a
offensive.
certain sense, but it's not. And the reason it's safe for the office is because it's piney, so no one's going to
Right.
be offended by pine. But
Absolutely.
it's not loud. It has a nice projection. It's
No.
subtle, as it
Yeah.
should be. Remember this particular. Well, hang on. Remember, I should inform you that the designer of this particular scent, the fashion designer we worked with, it was a brand called N. Hooleywood. It's deliberately misspelled, not Hollywood, but Hooleywood. N. Hooleywood. And it's a Japanese designer. And he was reflecting on his memories of being in Japan as a youth and then flying over to California in the 70s and doing these road trips with his dad up and down the Pacific Coast Highway. And so we were bridging those two worlds. It was the Japanese pines, the Hiba wood, and that sort of bath experience. And then the giant salty divide. And then, of course, landing on the Pacific Coast Highway in the motor oil scent, which is the strange aspect, which acts like an amber. It pulls it all together and warms it up too. So yes, it's an aquatic scent, but it has that warmth because of the motor oil accord. I thought anyway. And so
Don't be scared by the motor oil scent because it's not like
interesting, right? Yeah. But anyone that appreciates, like, I don't know, road trips or driving or just car culture, if you will,
right.
It smells like a garage. It's really bizarre, like a repair garage.
You know what that note reminds me of? What it makes me think of in another fragrance of yours from your Parfums Quartana line, Hemlock, and that vinyl record accord that's in Hemlock, that you really get a good whiff of that vinyl.
Oh yeah, okay, well,
Hemlock.
exactly.
And one would think, no, I don't want to smell like a vinyl record, but it's done so beautifully that
Thank you. That's really Christella Prad. The nose came up with the idea to use the black vinyl accord as to basically represent poison hemlock in this fragrance I did called Hemlock, because your viewers are like, what are they talking about? So I did a fragrance, for my namesake brand Quartana called Hemlock, based on poison hemlock, the very poison that, of course, killed Socrates. You had to drink it, and as often represented by a chalice, a poison chalice. And anyway, we were trying to, because the hemlock flower is really a beautiful white, delicate. It looks like Queen Anne's lace, and it's very deceptive in that it really does a number on you and that it kills you, So in the formula, we were trying to think, how could we replicate that wickedness, of what it does to you? And we had this idea of like introducing a dominatrix element into the concept where it's a pleasurable pain in the end, and Christelle was like, I want to use black vinyl to represent the dominatrix, her boots and her corset. And that's like, so hemlock grows in these green grassy fields in the south of France where Christelle is from. And that's the basis of hemlock, right? And then these white floral scent. There's a white floral scent because the hemlock actually smells quite nice. And to represent that kind of like toxic blackness that winds up in the chalice, which poisons you, that is the black vinyl accord, And again, it's this pleasurable pain kind of thing. So keep in mind, that was the vibe we were going for this collection based on poison flowers. They're all a little bit dark, but not meaning to be like dark,
Right.
But darkly romantic is what we were, going for. This one, on the other hand, is a bit more. The collection was based on memories, so that's again why we were asking the designer about his childhood memories.
Right.
And why he was like, oh yeah, my memories being in Japan and then from Tokyo and then going over to LA, basically make up the story, the reel, if you will, the tape behind 87. You can see it if you go to my website. We kind of rendered that feeling.
Yeah.
Or on our Instagram, you can see it. Six Sense Parfums, all one word.
So that one's very nice. So the second one is Ascent. I like Ascent.
Amazing.
So you want to talk a little bit about Ascent?
Sure. So this one also has kind of a, how do you say? It kind of has a controversial accord, okay, in that we used semen, the smell of
Yes.
semen. So this could be off-putting for a great many, as I've heard, believe me, as the creator of this,
Right,
you
right.
know. But you have to understand, without smelling it, it's perfectly woven in to the tapestry. You would never even know it's there, right?
Yeah,
Would you agree? There's
I
a
think
little bit. Okay,
a
sorry, go on.
little like maybe BO-ish, but not the bad, but
Yeah, yeah. Well,
people
that's
are totally
that's the must.
stimulated.
That's actually the must. But
Yeah.
there is that aspect in a drop of semen.
Hmm.
There's a watery aspect. I don't want to really break down, I think, the smells of the semen, because I think it's going to gross people out. But you're absolutely right. There's the water, a vernal, like a green aspect, and that we did with the violet leaf.
Hmm.
The pear juice, certainly. And then the musky little element that you're talking about, which means that it's an animal sort of secretion, you know.
Right.
They're all there, but it's hidden in this like kind of tapestry of clouds. But Radhu Rani, who is the designer who came up with this idea, he blew me away, you know, with his concept. And there's a reason this won an award, and you know, the concept alone carried it. He was inspired by the David Bowie song "Ashes to Ashes," where we start as ashes, we live our life, and then we finish as ashes, back to the
Yeah,
earth.
I read that. Yeah.
And what he wanted to do was capture the cycle of life in one breath through this perfume. Pretty
Right.
fascinating. So he wanted to symbolize the conception of life through semen. So that's the first kind of note or chord. And then infancy would be replicated or symbolized through baby powder,
Yeah.
middle age through leather, which kind of comes out a little later. It's a dry
Yeah.
leather.
Letting the baby.
Then your death through frankincense, you know, burned inside of a church,
Hmm.
funereal death. And it's so fascinating. So it's literally like the start to finish of like when, you know, ashes are electrified with energy and alive and then back, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's a chapter. And I guess it's for him, you'd have to ask him, but I think it's autobiographical. It definitely represents him. So, but it's of course totally genderless and unisex. Obviously,
I agree.
that would make it either or, you know.
All of these are
So,
all the three that I have experienced. They all are, in my opinion. I don't
yes, thank you.
feel
Yeah.
them to be masculine nor feminine.
Mhm.
If there was going to be one that I thought might have a little more of a masculine edge to it, it would probably be 087.
Yeah.
But
Well, remember, this was also designed by a guy. The designer, he's a Japanese male, and he creates utilitarian clothing. So it's a little rough and tumble in that regard, insofar as it represents him and his thing.
yeah,
But that said, we have plenty of female customers that wear it and love it, and there's nothing in it that makes it. I mean, the motor oil cord, I suppose, can be a little on the masculine side, just because it's traditionally associated, like mechanics, and auto mechanic is typically a man. You don't see
yeah,
women. But why can't women do it? Of course.
right.
So, you know, but yeah, I think that they're, as you say, they're on the money, and being totally unisex. You know, they don't.
Oh yeah, all of them.
I would love to smell that one, especially on you, since you liked it the most. You know, I'd
Yeah.
be very curious.
I'm telling you, it really smells very nice on my skin. Really dries down, kind of watery, but there's some depth to it. But it's really nice on my skin. Really nice. My husband liked it on my skin.
Okay, hey, that's good. Yeah, that's the first litmus test to pass.
Right, right. He liked
So,
it. He didn't say it was masculine. He's not into it like I am, but he didn't pick up on a motor oil accord, and he knows motor oil.
okay, well then you know what? It's probably, you know, on sweeter smelling skin, it will just come up as like really more ambery than anything, you know. On me, it smells straight up like motor oil for some
Oh,
reason.
really?
It's authentic, definitely, yeah. And
Yeah.
on some guys, but then I have a really good customer, a guy he's a French Canadian gentleman, and I've smelled it on him, and you know, it's a little bit different, you know, like it's also a little bit sweeter.
Hmm.
It really depends, you know, and that's the thing I've noticed as a perfumer now who I've done 37 perfumes. My babies smell completely different on different people. It's really bizarre. Not completely. They're, you know, they're 65%, let's say, the same.
Oh yeah.
But they come to life in different ways because they're designed to interact with your oils, with your unique smell.
Right.
My perfumes, all of them, from Six Sense and from Quartana, are designed to interact. So that's why they don't smell as nice on the blotter. They come to life literally when they're on you,
On skin,
you
right.
know? Yeah,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah,
it's the other half of the puzzle, you
I
know?
tell
And
people that
that's
all
the
the
magic.
time.
Yeah, the magic happens.
Yeah. Two things I always stress to people. Um, don't go with a fragrance, don't buy a fragrance, or don't push a fragrance away based on what it smells like on the piece of paper, on the,
Oh, yeah. You
try
gotta
it
test drive it.
in. And also, what smells good on someone else may not smell good on you. You have to get familiar with your own body chemistry.
You know what I recommend? I tell people is that you know you got the right fragrance, and people start to compliment you all the time. You're gonna know because it's gonna be a compliment machine. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, when I'm wearing the ones that I feel work on me, I get at least a compliment per week. You know, but
right.
if I'm out, if, let's say like pre-COVID, and you know I'm in like a nightclub or something. Look, God, when I would wear my Wolfsbane out, that one really is nice on me. My Wolfsbane is like one of the more masculine ones I did for Quartana, you know, the
Uh-huh.
Poison Flower collection. And this one's just wicked. I don't know if you ever smelled it. It may not be to your taste if you like Belladonna and Datura with
I
more
like
sweet
that.
florally
See,
ones.
those belladonna and hemlock, those are different choices for me because, as all my viewers know, I typically lean heavy masculine.
Oh, really? Oh, you're probably gonna totally dig
Leather,
Wolfsbane. I gotta
incense.
send one to you. I gotta send one
Ooh,
to you because. Oh, but this one, when I go out and wear it, it's like I got everyone stopping me. It's really crazy.
really?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I have people like, you know, write that down. What's the name, you know, and like this, or just people just coming up and freaking me and stuff. I'm like, yo, taken.
Now let
But
me ask you
it's
this.
work.
Do you only wear your own fragrances or what's
No, 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 no. I'm not like I'm not. Yeah, that's like a DJ who only spins his own stuff. It's like, yeah, look at my magic, you know. In fact, in a certain sense, I try not to, but I have
oh
to.
really?
I have to wear my own
Yeah,
because I need to test them, of course. But
right.
yeah, there's a bunch of brands that I quite like, and I do wear them, of course. You know, I
Now what's
mix
your
my own.
favorite
My favorite brand out there. That's not
your
my.
favorite fragrance that's not yours?
That's not mine. I would say probably. Oh gosh. Yeah, there's a bunch of Tom Fords. My wife is reminding me. I love fucking Fabulous. I think it's amazing. I
Yeah.
love Gourmands, and that one is just like a grand slam. And you know, I actually worked with the perfumer, Chamalaya Merandu. She did my Trump Loe fragrance for Six Sense. She's
Really?
amazing. Oh
Oh
yeah, and we're thinking about putting that one out subsequently because there's going to be more than just these first three. Just
yeah.
um, but anyway, I loved Lavender Extreme.
I do too.
Word.
Yeah.
Oh, what Mamma Mia! That one's amazing. I loved also Tuxedo from Yves Saint
YSL.
Laurent.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I loved. There was a petroleum scent from Histoire de Parfum that Gerald from that brand did. That's just
Hmm.
mind bending. I love it. It's I wear that on special occasions. And that one, talk about a gasoline note. It like literally smells like. My father was an auto mechanic, and I grew up
Uh-huh.
in that environment, and it literally just smells like my dad's repair garage. You know, when I was
Oh
a kid.
really?
Totally like I was doing oil changes for the last 5 hours. But it's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and let's see. I mean, I would never wear it, but my favorite fragrance of all time is Angel by Mugler, which
Now, why would you
single-handedly,
never wear it? I know a lot of guys who love to wear that.
hmm, I just feel that maybe it's time for it to revisit it. It could be fresh again, you know? I
Yeah.
feel like it went way too down market for me to do. When I first bought it in '92 when it came out, or '93, whatever, maybe it was '94, something like that, whatever the year was.
Hmm.
It was like the top of the pecking order. It was hard to get. You couldn't even find a bottle for sale. Like
Yeah.
only the most chic people would wear it. And
Right.
now it's everywhere. It's too
Yeah.
common. And when there, it's like a buy two get one free. It's like, I think it's over for me. I'm sorry, you know. It's really
Right.
not.
Well,
So
if I could recommend Muse, try Angel Muse. I
okay,
think,
that's not one of the new. It's a new flanker that
well,
they did.
yeah, it's a flanker, but it's just it's more respectful version of Angel, I would say. And that's always the one I see guys gravitating towards as well. They really
Interesting.
appreciate Muse. Yeah.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, you know what? The shame is, I wouldn't even know where I can go get samples now. But I suppose I can just order them from, you know, someone will say, you know, the
Oh,
website to be able to order them. But yeah, I'm curious now.
oh, you know
Because
what?
I
I'll
really
tell you what.
feel that.
I'll send you some Muse. I'll send you
Okay.
a can of Muse. Yeah.
Well, I'll send you the Wolfsbane anyway that you need
Okay.
to try. The one that's kind of the masculine one I was telling you about, or masculine one I was telling you about.
I'd love to try it because I said I'm actually going to collect or buy that whole line, that entire line. Why is Poppy Soma so hard to find?
Well, I don't have too many left. That was okay. So with Cortana, the two best sellers were Poppy Soma, and then to my complete surprise, Bloodflower, which is like my vampiric fragrance
Hmm.
that I kind of created as just that was like a creative flex. I had no feeling it was going to sell at all, at all. In fact, my wife hates it, thinks it smells like her period because we used a blood accord. She's like, it reminds me of my monthly visit. And so we had that problem. And when we were testing it initially, we were getting this feedback, and I was like, all right. And that's when I came up with the idea to spike it with Anize. You know, I wanted to like sanitize that blood smell. Because
Hmm.
the idea behind Bloodflower was, what does a vampire think when he's drinking your blood? So I tried to make what this fantasy of like, you know, what
Yeah.
blood tastes like to a vampire. It's a super goth fragrance. And to my complete surprise, it's like number one. And
Yeah.
it was like actually a huge sell. It's not only my best seller, and it shouldn't be. I mean, I guess it could be because I mean, it's interesting. But in Vietnam, it was like a huge hit. That's like the most
Oh,
random thing ever. Yeah, a goth fragrance is like selling well in Vietnam. Go figure. Yeah.
right.
You never know. That's the point.
You
You
never
just never know.
know.
But Poppy Soma won Perfume Extraordinaire, and that's actually a really crazy prize. That was the second Fragrance Foundation prize I won in 2017.
Hmm.
What's cool about this prize is that it's incorruptible. What do you mean by that? It's a blindfold prize. 25 judges smell it, and they're all snooty bastards, you know, like professional fragrance judges. And mine got picked out of a hat. Out of 400, I came in number one with Poppy
Oh
Soma.
my.
To my surprise, yeah. So I didn't expect to win. I got notified ahead of time, you know, that I was in the top 10,
Hmm.
you know, and then the top 5, and then I got invited to the ceremony, and you know they're going to reveal it, and then to my shock, I won it. You know, it's like
Oh.
that's
Now, don't
weird.
you think all fragrance awards should be judged like that? Wouldn't
Oh
that
yeah, of course.
that would be
Yeah,
amazing?
it should always be on merit and nothing more. But I mean, okay, to some degree, I can see why you need to have professionals saying, okay, you need to have that professional opinion in there only to say that, like, hey, this isn't a total copy of something 20 years ago that you don't know about.
Right.
That's all. It's just to vet it for quality. But yeah, it should be a populist and it should be popular opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be nice if they did that. But unfortunately, it seems like the same people keep winning over and over and over again.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Although, I mean, as much as I love Tom Ford, it was nice to see he finally didn't win any prizes the last Fragrance Foundation Awards, which was like
No,
two
he
weeks
didn't.
ago. I don't know if you watched it, but
I didn't
yeah,
watch it, but I did go on the next day and look
like
at
this,
everyone
yeah,
who won.
one, and yeah.
Yeah. I said I'm gonna do a video and I'm gonna name my own. I'm gonna give my own awards.
You should.
I
Yeah.
am.
Someone, you know, I mean, you have only 2 awards that are like good in the whole world. You have the FIFIs, the Fragrance Foundation Awards, and
Mhm.
the Art and Olfaction Awards, which actually just I think happened yesterday, right? So there's room for another proper one.
Right. Absolutely. unbiased over here. All right.
Exactly.
So the last scent is Urban Tropicalia.
Okay, and I see you're not so thrilled about it, and that's okay.
You know what? I almost sometimes I can read the notes and read a description of something and pretty much know how it's going to smell. And sometimes I'm pretty right. Now sometimes I can be thrown for a loop like number 087 or Ascent, but I was kind of spot on with this one. I really
Okay.
kind of knew what the vibe would be here, and it pretty much is.
It's well named, I have to say. Yeah,
It is
the
very well.
designer Alexander Hershkovich came up with the name of it, and it sums up exactly. It's a very simple story. This one, the perfumer Joachim Corel, who's a Brazilian dude, and Alexander Hershkovich, the fashion designer that we paired in this case, he's also Brazilian, really accomplished, amazing fashion designer. I think he's retired now. And they wanted to just capture like the color and spirit of Alex's fashions, which were quite quintessentially Brazilian. That's why I invited him into the project. So this fragrance is a tropic fragrance by its very definition. What makes it different and what makes it interesting and unique was that all of the accords were purposely chosen to be genderless. There's not a single one in there that's traditionally feminine or female. So It is a fruity tropical floral. It's a fruity floral, which is about as feminine as it gets. However, it's not, because the base fruits are basically black currant, very unisex, green apple, also extremely unisex, and apricot, which is extremely unisex. And then there's a little bit of cinnamon, just to kind of give it a cocktaily vibe. And then the floral aspect is tagit and jasmine. Jasmine just kind of is a reinforcement in there, and a little tiny bit of sweetness. And then freesia. So it's like two tropical flowers. And if I'm not mistaken, then there's cedar and musk, which actually, gives it a firm foundation. That doesn't make it necessarily feminine. So, so it's a tropical fragrance that is totally safe for men to wear without smelling like you raided your wife's, bureau. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have a lot of guys that like really love it. And in a certain sense, I always envisioned it as a female fragrance, but it totally isn't, especially when I was reminded that Joachim, the perfumer, was deliberately trying to make it something that any man could wear, but what it is, it's vacation in a bottle. I mean, this is a trip to Rio, the beaches of Rio, on the positive side of things. So if you're into that and you want summer to be never ending, that's,
Right. Yeah, very nice. And I'm not into summer fragrances a huge deal. I still I'm not really seasonal at all. But
that's good.
I typically find like tropical fragrances to be very fleeting on my skin. And this is not. It definitely
it has a nice longevity.
Absolutely. Yeah, very nice longevity. But yeah, I really like this one. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Okay, I thought because it was your third choice, it might be.
No, not that it was bad, but just that I knew, I almost knew what I would be getting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not that predictable, of course, from the name. Number 87, it's like, well, what can that mean? There's not really anything that gives it away. I guess Ascent also, nothing really gives it away. Other than, my interpretation of Ascent is because of the notes in there, because it has both, frankincense and then, like semen, is really the experience of sitting in a cathedral and just kind of like floating up through the altar into that like white light above. And, it's certainly, it's kind of heavenly in that sense. And I think that's what Rad was going for. The creator, Rad Hurani, he was going for that feeling. And so it's Ascent in the sense of that ascension is really the word I'm looking for.
I love a fragrance with a story. That always excites me.
Yeah, well, this one definitely has a big story. Like I said, it's the most interesting. Whereas Urban Tropicalia was just simply an interpretation Alex's aesthetic, as lovely as it is, but it's not as deep. And then, of course, you know, number 87 is this Japanese guy's memories of coming to America, which is kind of fascinating, you know, in the 30s, no less, or the 70s. Actually, yeah. No, 80, it was the 80s, because that's 87. It was the year he first came.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm remembering now the story. I should know my own products better, but, you
Now,
know.
if you can say, what's your favorite of the three?
That's like trying to ask me which is my favorite child, because I mean, I put out 27 Sixth Sense fragrances, right? And out of these guys, these three, I mean, two of them are award winners, so that's something to be proud of. And these three are, again, they sold the fastest. They were like the best sellers, so that's something to be proud of. So, I mean, I think conceptually, I've not been more impressed with any fragrance anywhere with the story behind Ascent. I think that's just the coolest thing. From start to finish, Rad was so genius. And that's why it won, it helped us win a Fragrance Foundation prize.
Right, right.
And it's so well executed. Urban Tropicalia was actually the first perfume I ever released. So it's kind of special in that way. It was literally the first release of Sixth Sense. So besides being bestseller, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And number 87, I mean, I wear this one, like still. I literally just put it on. I mean, so it's kind of near and dear to me when I want that vibe of like the pine, salt air, and motor oil, like just gone for a drive in the countryside or along the Pacific Coast Highway in your little roadster, you know.
Yeah.
It's awesome in that way. And, you know, now because we can't travel, Eva, you know, like we're stuck on the ground, or maybe we could road trip, but you can't really, I mean, road tripping, I guess, is okay. You can't fly. I mean, what's wonderful about these fragrances, or any fragrances for that matter, is they are literally a trip in the bottle, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they're a bit of a saving grace.
Now, let's talk about a really important part of this line here, and this. So I know people will probably be watching and they're like, well, she's always talking about $300 and $400 and $500 stuff. Let's talk about the price of these fragrances.
Oh, okay, yeah, so I really tried to make these as fair as possible. I'm very sensitive to, of course, folks being hurt from COVID. I myself and my wife are hurt from COVID. So they're very reasonable. Initially, when we put out any of the Sixth Sense fragrances for 50 mils, they varied from $95 to $110. And so this re-release, we're doing 30 mils, and we priced it even lower. So they're either $53, $58, or $63 for 30 mils. And 30 mils will last you a good 4 months, you know?
Absolutely.
It's a substantial amount. You can see, like, for the size of my little hands.
If
like,
you wear it every day, I mean, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I designed them. For me, the new mantra is accessible luxury. I know how to create perfect luxury because I've been doing it now for 20 years, my whole adult life, you know. I got started in luxury fashion. I did that for 15 years before I actually got into perfumery. And I've won 2 awards, so I hope I know what I'm doing. So trust me that these are great, and they're proven because they've won awards, and also they're my best sellers. So it's not like you're rolling the dice here, you know.
Right, right.
Thankfully, you've liked them. No one's really slammed them, which I wouldn't expect at this point, because they are well executed. You could say what you want about my perfumes, but they're well executed. They're professional, and they're IFRA certified. So that means, of course, they're legal. You know, it's not like there's something in there that's going to harm you, which is the danger of buying from a basement alchemist, because you never know. Certain things are toxic in certain levels. I mean, my whole Potion Fatale collection is a study of poison flowers. So we took a deep dive in the 3 years. You know, we researched that on what the big poisons are. And what I realized, the main thing is that all of those poisons in small doses are actually like hallucinogenic drugs.
Yeah.
Interestingly.
Absolutely.
They can also be medicinal in small doses. It's all about the dose. And then higher than that, you know, they cut your...
You're done.
Yeah, you're done, exactly. So, but they're quite fascinating. And that's why we had so much psychedelic packaging with Quartana, just by the way.
I love that packaging. I have mine. They're displayed on my top shelf. I love those.
Thank you. I did it with this artist named Arison Lex Mesterding. I have to give him a shout out. His Instagram is at House of Alms, ALMS. You know, House of ALMS. Harrison Mesculic. He does these amazing like oil paintings, digital oil paintings. So I commissioned him to do. And the idea was behind the packaging, the Quartana, was that it's supposed to be the last thing you see after you're poisoned. You're already starting to hallucinate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the cool thing is that with the boxes too, the colors are not arbitrarily chosen. So I basically, I would get like 30 friends together and I'd be like, I want you guys to smell this perfume. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. And I want you to tell me the first 3 colors that come to your mind. And where there was the overlap, that became the color palette for the boxes of the Parfums Quartana Poison Flower collection, Les Potions Fatales. Because I wanted the boxes to look like it smells.
Okay.
But also, again, it's like the last thing you see because you're already poisoned by it. It's got you, you know, and that's a hallucination you see.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's
Anyway.
amazing to me. I love knowing these things.
Oh, well, listen, all of the fragrances I've done have a lot of little hidden secrets and stuff like that. I mean, especially Quartana, you know. The films, too, have a lot of secrets. If you watch them, I did like 3, just like 2-minute long short films for Quartana, for Poppy Soma, for Bloodflower, and for Lily of the Valley. And they're like deliberately low budget. They're supposed to look like films made in the 70s or 80s that were kind of found.
Really?
And like kind of like music video. Yeah, like they're, check them out, you know.
Now, where can we find the videos?
Just on YouTube. If you just search for Parfums Quartana, Bloodflower, or Parfums Quartana, Poppy Soma, or Parfums Quartana, Lily of the Valley. I wrote these films. I had friends direct them, and I basically chose the music. They're silent except for music. So I curated the music to kind of push the mood. So it's a bunch of, if you're into electronic music, I worked with actually some pretty interesting electronic artists, if that's your thing, you know. Yeah.
I will watch those. I will definitely watch those.
They'll definitely, yeah. I mean, you appreciate, you smell like Poppy Soma, I think. And the funny thing is I have the films written for Venetian Belladonna, which you love, and I have the film written for Datura, and I have the film written for Hemlock, but I just didn't make enough money to film them yet, you know, because each of them costs like freaking 20 grand, you know, it's not cheap.
Really? Oh, wow.
Oh God, yeah. You know, by the time you get everything, like, you know, the actor, the model, the props, all the people, the equipment rental, you got to rent a space, editing, it's friggin', it adds up. So, you know.
Yeah. Now, what
so
are
these were a labor of love, you know? These were truly a labor of love. And they didn't really, I never pushed them because I'm shy too. So like, they only have like 1,000 views, you know? So they need a little bit of a push.
Well, you have to push those. Maybe we can insert one into this.
I know, but listen, I'm Gen X. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 45, and I feel funny about pushing my own things. I know they're good, but I want you to discover them, and I want all of my perfumes are a little mini world to kind of get lost in. And I want you, the viewer, and you, Eva, to kind of experience that magic, because that's the discovery is part of what makes perfumery fun and interesting. Yeah. Besides getting seduced by it, because it has that effect. But, you know, the gates that it unlocks, the worlds that it unlocks, the imagination that it allows to stream into your very being is amazing. And that's the power of them.
I agree. I think that's the reason why I'm always so intrigued by independent niche houses and independent perfumers, because there's always so much that goes into a fragrance, and there's always
well, you know, exactly. With all the little guys, at the end of the day, we have a story that we want to tell.
Absolutely.
With the big houses, it's a marketing board designing what's going to sell based on what they think, and it's a hive mind thing. So there isn't like necessarily one person owning it and saying this is what it is, you know. Whereas all of the Sixth Sense ones, there was the designer and the perfumer were really, okay, this is what it is. We didn't say, yeah, we want a gourmand from you. We're like, you guys go disappear into your cave, and when you're done and you like it and you think it's awesome, come out and we're going to release it. And that's what we did. So they're crackling with originality and creative energy, you know. And same with Quartana. I mean, all of my poison flower fragrances are supposed to be they're supposed to honor the poison flower and the history they had their roles in history as like poisoning emperors and poisoning, but also the hallucinogenic aspect and how they also influenced, you know, witchcraft and so on, like pagan rituals. It's pretty fascinating, you know.
Oh yeah, very
Figure into
fascinating.
all this stuff. Yeah, so they're all little mini worlds.
Now, will there be any new releases from Parfums Cortana from
Yeah, yeah,
the?
yeah. I have one ready to go that I wanted to release in March, but
Well, let's
COVID.
get it out now.
I know, I know. I can say I can't say what the name is yet, even though you know it's all trademarked and everything. But I
Mhm.
can say the perfumer is Luca Maffei. He's an Italian guy who works a lot with Mask Milano. He's amazing. He's an indie perfumer. He's won a whole bunch of awards. We've been wanting to work together for a long time, and I've never worked with an Italian perfumer. I've only worked with Frenchies and Americans. So this is a new experience, and I'm actually Italian by my ancestry. So it's kind of, you know, but I'm American, so it's a different universe, you know.
Yeah, right.
But so it's interesting to work with an Italian, and so that's ready to go. But then further to that, I have the follow up to my poison flower collection almost done too. I've been working on for 3 years. So the first two are kind of ready, you know, and I'm trying to get them out for September. And all I'll say is that they're based on white magic,
Really? Oh,
which
I,
is basically healing sorcery,
uh-huh.
and they work. I mean, it's insofar as I can say that, like, you know, they work in the sense that they're based on my experience is healing myself. Let's just put it this way. You know, I can't say because I'm not a doctor. I can't say they actually heal anyone, but we researched all these formulas and basically like how ancient cultures have healed themselves
Right.
through herbs and different. So take for example a walk through the forest. Okay, Japanese forest bathing. You must have heard of this term. You ever hear of Japanese forest bathing? This is the idea that like Japanese people will, you know, take a walk in a garden for 2 hours and it actually reduces your heart rate and it improves longevity. But how and why does this work? The reason is that when you're walking on like the forest floor, you're releasing oils from the forest, like pine oils and so on, and these different chemicals, and they go inside of your body and they actually boost your immune system. They boost like your white blood cell count. It's crazy, you know. So it's literally scientifically proven that taking a walk through the forest once a week for 2 hours
Mhm.
boosts your white killer cell count, basically. And so we were taking little bits like this and putting it into the formulas, the healing formulas. So you'll see, this is coming, and it's really fascinating. And it's basically the polar opposite of my poison flowers, because I wanted to leave something behind that's like about healing.
Oh, okay.
So, so they're coming. I challenge anyone to try to do this better than me because I got a 3 year heads up on you, and I'm working with IFF, International Flavors and Fragrances. So they're amazing, and they're throwing all their resources at me. So it's really been wonderful. And I'm working with a perfumer who just won a Fifi Prize for Perfume Extraordinaire, the same prize I told you I won for my Poppy Soma. The
Uh-huh.
perfumer I'm working with, her name is Celine Barrel. She just won a prize for zoologist squid.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
so yeah, that won the Fragrance Favorite Awards 2 days ago. So I'm working on one of my healing fragrances is done with her. So we're really excited, and I can tell you it's pretty much done. It's fucking amazing. You know, I'm excited about it, and I don't often get so excited about my own stuff. But I mean, this is something I engineered as much as created, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I
thank you, thank you. Well, you'll be the
cannot
first to get sampled. I promise you that. You know, as
wait.
long as you keep your reviews, of course, unbiased as you do. So,
Right. Absolutely. I'm known for my unbiased reviews.
that's the only reason I'm here because I don't want to work with influencers. I work with reviewers, and
Right.
I'm confident enough my product can stand up to a review, you know, a criticism.
Absolutely.
And I want to hear criticism because I want to become a better perfumer. So when
Right.
people crap on them, hey, it happens. You know, I do read my reviews, and sometimes I'm gutted. You know, of course.
Yeah.
So there's some haters out there. I certainly have, you know, and they pop
Me,
up again
me
and
too.
again, always knocking my stuff. But hey, as long as I have people that love me too, and that's what
Right.
matters. You know, right?
Yeah. That's what matters
Do
the
it for
most.
them. That's it. I only do it for them. No one else.
Sometimes they say you're not supposed to read that stuff, though. That's what they tell me.
Yeah, I don't exactly. That's no. Listen, I mean, I don't. Not just anyone. You know, these are like major reviewers. So I kind of have to because I need to
Oh yeah,
understand how they're going out into the world or how people are perceiving them. You
yeah.
know, to help me tune the marketing because otherwise I'm shooting in the dark, right?
Right, right. Correct. Yeah, true.
So, or I have to issue statements that redact factual errors in those reviews too, when they think they're all high and mighty and they actually make a huge mistake. And I'm just like, this guy just shot on my perfume and he's like wrong about a major accord. So how much did he really study them and how much is he just trashing me? Things that
Yeah.
make you go, Anyway, as an aside.
So I'm going to make sure that I list where the viewers can find your Sixth Sense, as well as where they can find your Parfums Quartana line as well.
Yeah, it's all on the same website. You can buy any of them on my website, but
Oh,
I encourage you to go.
okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. Six Sense and Cortana are both at the Six-Sense website. It's SIX-SCENTS. That's kind of our front door, but I recommend you going in through our Instagram. Go to our Instagram account. It's at Six Sense Parfums,
Okay.
and link that way because you go on a landing page, which is much more interesting. But actually, I
Right.
know. Sorry, you know what? If you never mind that, I take that back. Go to Six-Sense, and then you can choose Cortana or Six Sense. And I forgot, you go to the landing page that way, so it's totally fine. Go to
Okay.
Six-Sense and you choose Six Sense or Cortana, and you can. And we sell samples. With Cortana, the samples that we sell are totally reimbursable. If you buy like the Magic Garden Discovery set, which is all 9 of Les Potions Fatales, all 9 of the poison flowers,
Hmm.
that costs $56 to your door. However, you get a $50 coupon back if you upgrade to a full size.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's a really good deal, you know.
Yeah, that's
Because my bottles for Cortana, they're either 145, 165, or 185 for 50 mils, so it's reasonable.
right.
But these are eau de parfums. They're not toilettes. They're eau de parfums. They last all day. Yeah, that knocks it down to only like, $95 for blood
Right.
flower. Yeah, in some cases.
And so these are the size of the
Yeah, there's my hemlock. Yep. That's 50 mils. Yeah. Whereas Six Sense for the moment is only 30 mils, you know. Oh, and I should say, so besides these 3 initial trio, the next one coming out is
I was gonna ask.
yeah. So we're gonna do. I'm hoping about 12 in total, and I can't say all of the ones because people that know Six Sense, I know they all want whiskey caramelise. You know, they've been bugging me about this one.
That sounds
So
amazing.
it's oh my god, it's freaking incredible. The problem is we're totally out of it, and I can't make more yet. So I'm trying to get more made.
Yeah.
So just anyone that's asking in the notes, like, there's your short answer. I don't know yet. I'm trying. But the next one is a really amazing leather gourmand. It's called Napa Noir, which means black leather in French. And it's done by none other than Khalees Becker, who did all of the Killian fragrances.
Yeah.
It's fucking mind-bending. And let me tell you, Eva, out of all 37 perfumes I've done in my life, this is like my numero uno. And
Really?
so, and it's unreleased. Yeah, we never put it out at Six Sense because we were about to release it and then we decided not to do production on it. So it was one that never actually got mass produced. We created it, we pressed it, it exists in the Fragrantica database, but we made 100 bottles for press, sent them out, and that was it, the end. So we're going to release, a limited edition. I'm not sure if it's going to be 100 or 250. I have not so much juice, so I got to actually count.
Yeah.
See how much I have left in the archive. But it's friggin' incredible. Let me just tell you, it's so modern. It's
Really?
the ingredients list of Napa Noir is amazing. It's obviously a supple black leather, like a $5,000 leather jacket you can wear forever.
Oh, nice.
There's some iris, there's some violet in there, there's coffee accord, there's speculoos cookie accord, which tastes like the cookies that are served with your coffee in a French cafe.
Right.
Yeah, there's tobacco accord. What we were imagining was this fabulous art dealer sitting in her Parisian cafe, smoking her cigarette, having her coffee, and eating her speculoos cookie.
Mm.
and like just watching life go by on the boulevard in,
Oh,
in Paris, Avenue Montaigne or the Champs Elysees. Take your pick, you
oh,
know.
I
And it
cannot
just
wait.
encapsulates that moment. It's really freaking incredible. And Khalees Becker is a master. I mean, so and she did this for us before she got famous. So I'm so excited to put this out in her honor. You know, yeah.
Oh, well, I'm excited to smell. That sounds amazing. I don't like fall. I'm a
October.
summer girl, but in the fall, I look forward to tobacco, some cognac, leather,
Oh,
oh, I love that fall heaviness in a fragrance. I love that. So
you're gonna be blown away by my Wolfsbane. That's exactly it. It's a total
really,
resin bomb. Yeah. Oh my good God. Yeah. There's absinthe in there, black truffle.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. There. Let's see. I'm trying to remember all the ingredients. My mind is on these guys. Hang on. Yeah. I have to look up my own fragrance. 1 second.
Now, how many of these um did you release from these three of 087, Ascent, and oh, did I lose you?
No,
Oh,
yeah. Hang on a second. Sorry. Yeah. My father was just calling. I forgot to put him on
oh,
airplane mode.
so you have a limited number
These
of
are exactly all of the 6 cents are only 250 bottles, and it's done forever because this is
oh,
literally the last of our archived liquid, you know.
mhm.
So that's it, and they're nicely macerated because they're about 10 years old. But I promise you, they're all good because I would never release them if they were
Right.
spoiled, of
Oh, yeah.
course. You know? We had them tested also by our respected manufacturers, Simrise and Givaudan, over the
Mhm.
years. And they've been stored properly at Del Biado, who's our fragrance factory here in New York City. So, you know, everything was done the right way. But yeah, only 250 bottles left of these guys. They're about 1/3 sold out because we released them about, 2 weeks ago. So,
Yeah.
it's not like it's so urgent that they're going to be sold out tomorrow, but they're going, and they'll
Yeah.
probably be done. They'll definitely be all sold out by the holidays. That's totally for sure.
Oh,
So if you're
absolutely.
thinking about getting it for someone for the holidays, get it now because it's probably going to be done by like November. Because the next one we're coming out with in Napa Noir should release in like mid-October. Then we have another one coming in like early November, mid-November.
Mhm.
That one is another unreleased one by the master perfumer himself, Rodrigo Flores Rue. He did a bunch of Tom Ford. He just won 2 awards the last Fifis.
Oh,
He did
wow.
actually 3 6 cents for us over the years. So this is
Uh-huh.
actually one of his that he did for us that's also unreleased. And this one is going to be called Modesty, and it's coming out in mid-November. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And it smells like a smoky Zen rock garden.
Really?
Stones and metal and smoke. It's incredible. It's quiet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's calming. It's really something else. So
It
it's
sounds nice.
inspired by a Japanese shrine, yeah, in a Buddhist temple.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you would like for everybody to know about you? Anything you're
Well, I mean, gosh, besides I put my heart and soul into these and we're a small company, I mean, one thing that all of the, oh, by the way, yeah, we should talk about the packaging really fast because we also made it a point to keep, the packaging as minimal as possible to keep
right?
our imprint. I kind of went overboard with the Quartana fragrances, I have to admit. So I'm actually going to be redoing the packaging and much more minimal, more environmentally friendly packaging for Quartana next year. For
Oh,
6 cents,
wow. So
already
I'll make sure
reflected
I
about
get
it.
them
So,
all.
oh, thank you. Well, yeah.
I like the art aspect of them.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, if worst comes to worst, I'll send you some empty boxes if you wish, at least to
Okay.
have that aspect of nothing else if they sell out or whatever. But these guys, it's just a Mylar bag and the bottle. The bottle's reusable. So the one good thing about it is that once you're done with it, it's heat sealed, of course, but you can take off, these are Rexam caps and Belleron glass. It's Italian glass. So, I mean, it's a good reusable portable bottle. So you can fill it with your next, either more 6 cents or Cortana or, your perfume of choice. Or
Right.
you could fill it with sanitizer. It's good to have that on the go. We
Absolutely.
sell really awesome sanitizer, by the way. Our sanitizer is amazing. So if you want a sanitizer that doesn't stink and that works, it's 80% alcohol.
Uh-huh.
and it's only like $9 for 30 mils. So if you need something on the go that makes your head, because we scented it with just mint and tea tree oil. It's freaking awesome. So 80%, it works. Like
Yeah.
it kills freaking germs, and it smells amazing, because most of the stuff you get at the supermarket is gross. Why
Right.
is that? Because they want to dissuade alcoholics from drinking it. Do you believe this? So they
Really?
make it purposely stinky stank. Yeah. So if you
That's,
don't have an alcoholic in the house and you want a nice smelling sanitizer,
yeah.
6 cents got you covered. You know?
I've heard of alcoholics drinking like the 90% alcohol, like straight out of the
Yeah,
bottle. I've
yeah.
heard that. Absolutely.
Remember that, it's store-bought sanitizer is basically 80%, 70% alcohol. It'll get you buzzed, it's moonshine.
Right. Yeah.
And perfume is just very expensive hand sanitizer, if you think about it,
Most of it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Most of it.
Absolutely. Most of it is.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun. I'm so glad that we met, that I
Yeah,
got
thank you so much. You're amazing. It was really a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
yes.
I can't wait to watch this. I'll definitely, share it with my friends and stuff. And I encourage your viewers also to leave comments in the comments, so because I read them. So if you have a message for me, a question, I'm going to be there, after you make this go live, and
Okay.
I'm going to answer them. So just let me know. And I get back to everybody, as long as you're not trolling me, of course.
You do. I signed up for your email list, and then I got an email from you, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's what
I'm
we
jealous
got.
of. I was
Yeah,
like,
like
is
I like to
this
see
really
things
him?
top my list. Yeah. No, mind you, we're busy. We have a lot of traffic, but I pick random ones. But with video posts, it's manageable. It takes, I'll sit there
Right.
for a day back to everybody. I think I owe that to each and every person who actually took the time to watch the video about my brand. I'm happy to do that.
Right. Yes.
It's not like I have to be at my coffee meeting in Paris, or something. Like,
I know. And if so, it's probably going to be like this on Zoom, right?
yeah, at least for the next few years. I don't think we're getting out of this like anytime soon. I hate to say it. Even with a vaccine coming, it's like not everyone's going to get the vaccine, and it's still going to be spreading and stuff. So, and if you're like me, I'm high risk, and my father, who I buy groceries for, he's high risk. So I don't let him out of the house. I bring stuff to him.
Yeah.
And I don't need to get this because I don't got good kidneys. So if there's a chance if it's going to make my kidneys worse, that I got to get dialysis, that's enough of a deal breaker to wear a freaking mask every day. Besides the fact that I don't want the karma of giving that to someone. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want to kill my aunt or my grandma or something.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
everyone who's watching this, you better mask up. Don't deny science, please.
There's a whole team of people out here fighting this whole mask thing, and it's like, let's just put the mask on so we can be done with this as soon as possible.
Don't you got something better to do, than like just going against what a doctor has to say, or the disease control center? I mean, it's common sense. It's a respiratory virus. Obviously, it's going to come out of your breathing. So,
Right.
and wearing the mask is not to protect you. It's to prevent you from giving it to someone. That's what people have to understand. They have it backwards. It's just like, don't be a douchebag for 5 minutes. And you know what? It's going to go away. It's that simple. If we all just put one on, right? It's just so simple. It's like, anyway, I'm a New Yorker, so I had to, say that, because we got socked really early on in February. And I know a bunch of people, anyone that thinks it's a hoax, bullshit. I know a bunch of people that have it, and they're hurting, and some people that died from it. Not so many, fortunately, but
Right.
Anyway, now we have it under control. Thank God. It's like not so crazy, but
Yeah. Are they opening everything back up there now, or?
In measured fashion, where they think it's safe. So at the moment, New York City, it's actually a lot more pleasant than it's being made out to be. In the daytime, it's awesome because you have outdoor dining everywhere, which we never had.
Oh, really?
And so, I've been talking about Paris and, drinking coffees outside on a boulevard. That's what New York looks like now. It's amazing. And de Blasio, God bless him, he just made this a permanent thing. So even after COVID, we're going to continue the outdoor dining, which is amazing. So there's a festive warmth to that, because every neighborhood has seating for diners in what used to be parking lot, the sidewalk. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But everything closes at 11. So the flip side is that after 11 p.m., nothing's open and it's a little dicey on the streets, you know?
Yeah.
Our city used to be 24/7. It's not like that anymore, of course, because
Yeah.
we don't want drunk people at 3 a.m. out and about being drunk and, you know, doing God knows what, or spreading COVID, you know? I don't think people are making good decisions when they're trashed at 2 a.m., you know? And it's like,
Probably not.
so,
And
you know, yeah. So the
museums.
city's nice. And they're reopening the museums, limited capacity, finally, you
Oh,
know?
that's nice.
Yeah. And the restaurants finally, indoor dining, 25% capacity is like starting, I think literally next week, you know? So it's slowly getting back to normal. And then, you know, we're just on probation. It's the second we see COVID rate ticking up, it shuts down again.
Oh, yeah.
So, and none of us want that. So we're all, you know, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Like New Yorkers, I got to hand it to my peeps. Everyone's been good about it, wearing masks. If you go on the subway, everyone's wearing a mask. And people are really cooperating because we don't be locked down for another 5 months. It sucked.
Right.
It was really awful. You know?
It was bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But we in New York really had it bad. You know, it was like horrible.
Yeah.
You know,
You
and you
guys
have the
got
queue
hit
to go
pretty
into the
much the
supermarket.
worst.
What's that?
You guys got hit the worst, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't even know how to deal with it at that point. You remember? It was just suddenly just got us, you know, like really hard and fast. And we had our pants down to some degree. Thank God it didn't get worse. But where exactly are you, Eva?
I'm in Missouri.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you in St. Louis or Kansas? Or
I'm in St. Louis. Yeah.
Okay.
So we didn't get hit too hard here, but the numbers are starting to creep back up again, but it's because people are coming out of their comfort zone. You know, they're coming out and because they're sick of being locked up. But
yeah, exactly. The summer, I mean, thank God, at least, you know, like, thank God we had good weather in New York City. And, you know, people were sensible about it. Like you go to the parks, you know, as long as you're keeping distance and stuff. And we kept it under control that way, you know. But yeah, and fortunately, my wife and I have had a cabin in upstate New York since before COVID. So we've been splitting our time. It's been nice to be able to get out, you know, I go in my yard and not have to wear a mask. But if I leave my apartment in the city, I got to keep the mask on as long as I'm anywhere until I get back in my place, you know.
Right.
I mean, common sense, you can take it off as no one's around and breathe for a second, but you can't go into a store if you want to go grocery shopping or anything.
Yeah.
As it should be, you know.
Right.
So
yeah, home is the best place to be if you don't have to go out, really.
yeah, just stock up on pajamas and lots of perfume. And what else do you need, right?
What else do you need? We actually have a huge garden, so we grow everything here.
Oh, amazing! Oh God bless you. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and we have chickens, so you know, worst case scenario. Now we don't eat them. We do use their eggs. We take the eggs. But if times got hard, you know, if there was really a food shortage, then
you've got a meat supply. It's pretty sensible, and a meat supply that reproduces by itself and pretty fast. What you got to do is grow some. You know, listen, I'm a vegan, but if there's that kind of shortage, I'm eating fried chicken again. Okay, it's like that or death. Okay, you know. So
chicken it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like chicken for dinner. All right, eggs for brekkie. I'll roll with it. You know. I don't know if it's not like me necessarily, but yeah. But thank you so much. It's really a pleasure. Let's stay in touch and everything, and you know, keep me posted on stuff. And yeah, you know what? Well, I'll just email you after this, and we can, you know, kind of just sign off and stuff like that. So to all your viewers, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time spent, and I hope you like my babies. And again, give me feedback. I want to hear from you guys. I'm really curious, you know. So. And Eva, thank you very much. I really, really, really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Alrighty. Ciao. Happy weekend.
Have a good weekend. I'm going to stop.